Your shoulders are responsible for much more than you may think. And if they're not functioning properly, you're eventually going to experience some major inconveniences. Let's make sure that doesn't happen to you. Welcome back. I'm Danny Farrow, and in this video, we're gonna go over the role of the shoulder. We're gonna run some tests to see if it's functioning properly, and then we're gonna do some exercises to improve the ways in which we're lacking, whether in mobility or strength, most likely both. So the shoulder joint, also known as the glenohumeral joint, actually has the greatest range of motion of any other joint in the entire body. It's surrounded by about 8 muscles to protect and stabilize the joint, and due to its great range of motion, there are many different planes that it's able to move along. Some of these planes include abduction, adduction, flexion, extension, and internal and external rotation. So that's already a lot more than the other joints we've looked at in past videos. So this is a very complex part of the body. We want to make sure that it's functioning properly and we're able to move in the ways we're supposed to. So since there are many planes of motion, we can't go over all of them in this one video, but what we are going to do is go over the ones that are frequently neglected in training and aren't really focused on or strengthened. So the movement planes we're going to look at in this video are going to be internal rotation, external rotation, and then actually thoracic spine extension, which doesn't sound related to the shoulder, but it is, and you'll find out later in the video how exactly it relates. Over the past couple of years, my shoulder had gotten really weak, unstable, and stiff due to playing volleyball and just swinging with my shoulder the entire time without really knowing what I was doing. Back then, I didn't really understand biomechanics or how the body was supposed to move efficiently, so I was just whacking the ball with my arm as hard as I could, which tightened up those muscles, tore up the tendons a little bit, and certainly weakened the joint and caused a lot of instability. So according to a study done by Dr. David Morrison at the Southern California Center for Sports Medicine in 2005, we can see that certain shoulder impingements can be caused by several different mechanisms that can range from mechanical factors to glenohumeral instability. And so at this point, what do we know about instability? Well, we know that it's usually a result of weakness within the musculature that surrounds the joint. So rehabilitation of that instability or weakness is going to be done by strengthening the parts of the shoulder that haven't been strengthened or even have been injured in the past. Without further ado, let's get into the tests and see what we can improve. So test number 1 is going to be a behind the back grab. You're gonna stand up straight and you're gonna reach one arm behind your back as high as you can, and the other one is gonna come back over your shoulder, and you're gonna connect. You're gonna grab your hands together. You should be able to do this on both sides, and this is testing your internal rotation, your ability to rotate that shoulder inward, have access to that range comfortably and efficiently. If you're able to grab on and it feels pretty comfortable, you could hold it for 30 seconds, then you pass this test. If you're unable to hold for 30 seconds because you feel a sharp pain in your shoulder, or you can't even get your fingers to touch, then you do fail this test. So how can we fix this internal rotation? Well, there's a few exercises that can help. So to increase the stability of the shoulder joint and internal rotation, we can start with depth push-ups. I'm sure most of you have done regular push-ups before, but the ground actually limits your ability to move through the full range of the shoulder. Like we now know, the shoulder joint has more mobility than any other joint in the body, but if we're not using it to its full capacity, then we're going to eventually lose the ability to even get into those ranges, especially to get into them with strength. So to do this exercise, you can use either a stack of books or some bars, and you're going to get into a regular push-up position, or if that's too easy, you can slide your hands back into more of a planche stance, and then move down slowly all the way into the deepest position where your shoulder blades are pretty much touching each other, and then move back up slowly. If you've never done this before, you'll probably feel a pretty good stretch in your chest and on the front of your deltoid or your shoulder, and that's a good thing. Just move slowly through the eccentric so you can get that stretch while making that muscle contract in a lengthened position. That's what's gonna make it longer while maintaining and improving the strength of the joint. So the next test we're gonna do is actually for that thoracic spine extension. Now, the reason this connects with shoulder mobility is because if your spine is not able to extend properly, then your shoulders are going to be very limited in their upward movement. So to do this test, you're gonna sit with your back against the wall. Now you want your butt, your lumbar spine, so your lower back, and your upper back and head touching the wall all at the same time. Then you're going to lift your shoulders up, lift your arms up until your hands with your palms facing back touch the wall. So your palms touch the wall without lifting your lower back off the wall or flaring your ribs up. This is going to really test the ability of our thoracic spine to extend out of flexion as it's supposed to be able to. If we're sitting at a desk all day in spinal flexion and we don't get into extension often enough, then we're gonna get kind of stuck in this position, which will limit our shoulders' ability to move up and back as it should. So if you're able to do this and hold for 30 seconds, then you pass this test. If you're not, your ribs are flaring up or your lower back is coming off the wall, then you fail this test. To improve thoracic spine extension and even strengthen your lats and scapular muscles, you can do pullovers, or if you don't have access to a bench or dumbbells, you can just do the counter stretch 4 reps. To do a pullover, you're gonna put your upper back, so basically where your scaps are, on a flat bench, and then bring your legs out, flex the glutes and core so that your lower back does not move into flexion. You want to keep your lower back straight when you do this exercise. Otherwise, the majority of the load from the dumbbell is going to go into your lower back and not your thoracic spine, which is not what you want. So keep your abs stable and even your glutes flexed if you have to keep that lower back stable as you move the weight down your shoulders back and extend your thoracic spine. When you get to the bottom where you're really feeling the stretch, you could feel it in a number of different places. You should feel the thoracic spine extending, then move your arms back up. You should feel that in your lats, your upper back, and your shoulder as you move it back up, perpendicular with the ground, and then move back down again. Do this for reps. And again, if you don't have access to this equipment, you can instead do the counter stretch 4 reps, where you're just putting your hands on something that's about hip height, backing up as far as you need to, and then lowering your chest down, pretending as though there's a wire pulling down at your chest towards the ground, and really focusing on getting that extension in the shoulders and the thoracic spine. Same goes for the counter stretch and the lower back. Keep the abs and glutes stable so that your lower back is not moving into flexion, but staying stable and straight. If you're finding this video helpful, go ahead and obliterate the like button so this can get pushed out to help more people, and subscribe so that you don't miss future videos, or you can go back and look at my previous content when you have time. Thanks for doing that. And now we'll move on to the final test, which is going to test external rotation of the shoulder. Now, this external rotation is arguably the most important on this list. Though they're all important, this one is the most active in sports, as if it's not strong, it's going to limit your ability to perform a lot of athletic movements like throwing. You're gonna lay flat on the ground, elbows on the ground, and then you're going to just lift your hands up, rotating the shoulders and keeping your elbows on the ground. If you can hold this for 30 seconds, then you pass this test. If you can't, then you failed. We're actually gonna run a bonus test for external rotation because it's that important. So this other one, you're gonna need a pull-up bar, which is why I included the other test, because I know not everyone has access to a pull-up bar all the time. But if you do, go ahead and grab that pull-up bar and just dead hang. While you're dead hanging, you're going to begin a pull-up, not by bending your elbows and pulling up to the bar, but instead begin a proper pull-up by pulling your scapula down and externally rotating the shoulders so that you move your body backwards so that your chest is almost facing the bar, kind of like a row position. If you're not able to do this while dead hanging with your legs in front of you, and that's important, don't have your legs behind because it's going to stress your lower back and make it a lot easier by adding leverage. So bring your legs in front of you to whatever degree you're able, dead hang at shoulder width, and then move your shoulders into external rotation and drop your scaps down. These are known as scapular pull-ups, and they're crucial for strengthening not only external rotation, but scapular strength of the rhomboids and latissimus dorsi to improve your pull-up and strengthen your upper back. So if you're able to do this, even just once, because it's actually quite difficult with your feet out in front of you, then you pass this test. If you're not able to do that, then don't continue trying because you'll probably end up hurting your shoulder joint, but you failed this test. And now an exercise you can do to begin improving your external rotation is something I was actually able to figure out myself because of the way that gravity interacts with the load on this exercise and the shoulder joint. So to do this, you're gonna lay flat on the ground on your back this time with a dumbbell in hand. When you're starting off, do not do more than 5% of your body weight. If you've had a shoulder injury in the past, Maybe even start with 1 pound dumbbell if you have access to that. You're gonna keep your arm perpendicular to your torso at a right angle, and then slowly internally rotate the shoulder until your hand and the dumbbell touches the ground, and then lift back up. Move slowly through the lowering portion, as at the bottom range, this could feel very tight and tense, and you might not be able to touch your hand to the ground when first starting off, especially if you have bad internal rotation range or weak external rotation muscles, as most of us do from having either not trained it in the past or injuring the joint in the past. So I couldn't find this exercise anywhere else on the internet, so I'm gonna go ahead and call them Pharaoh raises. And if you can do these consistently, you'll see substantial gains in your external rotation, and you'll probably notice that you can even throw harder and faster. All of these exercises scale and regress so that you're able to do them at whatever level you're in, whether it's by decreasing the weight or adding assistance to decrease the weight of gravity or increase your leverage for the exercise, to be able to start wherever you're at. The shoulders are vitally important to our athleticism and movement, but they're not all that matters. The legs are important too. So check out this video next to see how you can improve the strength and mobility of your knees to continue bulletproofing your entire body. Again, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to obliterate the like button, subscribe, and comment down below which of the shoulder ability tests you passed or even failed. I'll see you over there. Go be human.